Sorry, I was trying to pull a Joe Madden and screw up the intro. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by the GMC Sierra Truck at Fowler Buick GMC in Brandon. Welcome in. Good morning. Hope you enjoyed that one. Wow. What a game 7 as the Cubs take it. Rip Jackson's heart out. I mean, I just couldn't. I am so happy about the outcome of last night's game. And the Cubbies win in extra innings in a game, in a series that gave us everything you could want. And
the next pitch to Martinez, a swing and a slow chopper toward third. Here comes Bryant on to first, and the Cubs have won the World Series.
Woo! Did you ever think you'd hear that?
A moment that many thought might never happen has happened here in Cleveland. For the first time in 108 years, the Chicago Cubs are World Series champions.
I love it. Here is to Lee Smith. Here's to Lee Smith and Leon Durham and Sandberg and all those guys. I know Donnie Kessinger's one happy dude this morning. So the Cubs win, and they're world champions. World champion Chicago Cubs. Want to say good morning to our radio and digital partners and to the audience. The Twitter handle @BoBounds, brought to you by favorites.com. The number, if you would like to talk about what the series has meant to you and what this sports year, the impact that it's had on you. 601-707. That's 707-3750. And that is powered by C Spire's iPhone 7 on their Max Range LTE network. We're streaming on the Zone1059.com, and you can download the Out of Bounds radio app because it's awesome. And you can watch us on the webcam, or you can stream the show, or you can check out the podcast later. So,
the rejuvenation of baseball happened last night. I'm not willing to go there.
Let's talk about that, the impact on baseball. That's America's team.
Yeah.
The Cubs are America's team, and I think it's because of the reach of WGN, and they were the lovable losers. Now, after about 60 days, will they still be as likable once you get one helping after another of Cubs, 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 champions, 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 the darlings of the media? We'll see, how everybody feels by Thanksgiving and Christmas. I guess for those of you who don't know, I'm not sure how many that would be in the audience, but I think it'd be probably more than I would think, and probably more than Drew and Jackson would think. By the way, good morning, Drew and Jackson. Jackson didn't watch the game. Drew did, so Drew and I will be able to talk about it. Jackson's just bitter that the Indians didn't win.
That is correct. Yes,
but this fits right into football, where second season in a row, Jackson doesn't watch the games, but he claims, I see the scores on my phone.
Never watched the game.
So anyway, is Theo the GOAT?
Easily.
Theo Epstein, for our listeners, is the general manager of the Cubs, and he was the boy wonder. Nice. Yeah.
I was going somewhere with that, but I'm gonna let it ride till you get done.
All right, no, you can go ahead and play it. Boy wonder of the Cubs, hired at 28 years old after Billy Beane told the Red Sox no, and led the Red Sox to break their curse. And so he's the Ivy League whiz and blah, blah, blah. Guess where he grew up? In Boston.
Oh, okay, in Boston.
Guess what he grew up doing? I've got this article right here.
Playing with numbers or reading stats?
By Wright Thompson in ESPN, the magazine. It's one of the best articles I've read in the last decade on sports. And again, Theo starts off where? With Eddie Vedder at a Pearl Jam concert. But he was somewhat of a child prodigy, much like Bill Belichick and John Elway, who ESPN, the magazine, has featured back to back to back. They featured Elway, then Epstein, then Belichick. And he grew up at Fenway. I mean, he was one of those fortunate, lucky kids to live near the ballpark and go to game after game after game, starting at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, then became the GM. So then he's hired by the Cubs and turns this thing around. And it takes you through how he did it, which is pretty amazing. You know what one of the stories was before we get into the game and how Joe Madden tried to give it away? And I thought Joe Madden managed a terrible ball game. Well, two of the moves I thought were really, really bad. But the story on Epstein in this article takes you to they're up in a suite watching their minor league games. They have a room where they've got all these TVs and they can watch their single A, double A, and triple A. And they were watching their teams in 2012 and 13 and 14 dominate on the field in the minor leagues. And they'd be up there fist pumping and high-fiving. It's Theo and his AGM and his director of player personnel and blah, blah, blah. And they're just going nuts. And they're winning 6-1 in AAA and 4-0 in AA and like 9-1 in single A. And you know what they had to do? They had to look at each other before they walked down in the Cubs locker room in 2012 and 13 and 14 and gain their composure because that team was getting their tail kicked. And they had to remind themselves that although the future was coming, it wasn't there, and those guys were getting their tail kicked at the Major League Baseball level. All right, so what did y'all make of the home run by Fowler right off the bat to kind of set the stage and get up early? And that was the first leadoff home run in the history of the World Series Game 7?
Yes.
First leadoff home run, and he goes to deep center field. Man, did that set the tone or what on Kluber?
I thought Terry Francona didn't manage Kluber well.
You didn't think so? Tell me.
I thought because you didn't bring in Andrew Miller until they were down 4-1.
Right.
Good point.
And Miller also gave up a couple of runs, but
Yeah, he wasn't sharp either, but
he wasn't.
But you still should have brought him in earlier, I think.
I agree.
And then I thought that Joe Madden yanked Hendricks way too early. I thought Hendricks was dealing. He was mixing up his pitches, and he was hitting both sides of the plate, which was confusing to me. And you could tell Smoltz was like, what? Whoa. That was. Did you hear what he said? That was a quick hook? Yeah. That was his quote. Hold on. Yeah, that was his quote. That was a quick hook. But he survived it. Then I thought Madden messed up again. Lester was shaky, but then Lester got into rhythm. And then he pulls Lester for Chapman, and we know what happened with the 2-run dinger and the wild pitch. No. Yeah, is that right? Yeah. That is. But now Ross comes back, the guy who's 39. He looks like he's 59. Ross, the catcher, who they subbed for, and hits a deep shot to center field to kind of what? Stop the Indians' momentum?
Right.
Would you agree?
Yeah, because it was right after that wild pitch scored 2 runs for the Indians, which
Trying to stop the momentum there.
Right. Is Theo the GOAT? Is Theo, because he's now done it in the AL with a team that was cursed, and now he did it in the NL with a team that's cursed.
You do know how old he was whenever the Red Sox hired him as GM, right?
28? Yeah, I just said that 3 minutes ago.
Did you say he was 28?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that part.
Good morning to our listeners, and good morning to Jackson. He's been checked out all week. I don't know what's going on. He's still trying to shake off his New Orleans trip. And so, yeah, I did. Thanks for the listening to
I
the
was
opening monologue.
Yeah, I was reconfirming that.
Okay, thank you. Jackson's on it this week. Do we have any more audio? What do we have? All right, let's. Drew, do you have some thoughts?
Where do you stick up like Theo with a guy like John Sherholtz or Brian Cashman, guys that have they won with one organization, they've won pretty consistently as far as executives.
With the Sox, he won consistently.
Well, I mean, Theo's won 2 World Series with 2 different teams, but Sherholtz built a roster that won 15 division titles in a row.
No, Sherholtz was amazing.
Cashman's won 3 or 4 World Series.
Right. That's tough. They're all 3 great. In the moment, do you tend to go with Epstein because he did it with a team that was cursed in Boston that had so much pressure, and then a team that had been cursed for 108 years with the Cubs?
Of course, in the moment, we're going with Epstein. No question.
And to do it in 2 different leagues. Those guys did it at one stop, and Theo had no DH in one league. So you totally, you recruit, your transactions are different, your evaluations are different compared to the NL, where the pitcher gets to bat and so on and so forth. So there's strategically, and as far as strategizing, wouldn't you say it's 2 totally different ways of thinking and the approach?
It is.
Now, what's the one common denominator that Theo went with? I've got it right here in this ESPN
Building
magazine.
The farm system?
Not just that, but pitching. They put up the numbers here. Look at this. The numbers on the Red Sox and the Cubs, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pitching categories. And the Cubs and the Red Sox, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 5 of the 8 categories, the Cubs and the Red Sox were number 1. Cubs in 2016, Red Sox in 2007. So that's what Theo did from the start. Pitching. Granted, they ripped the baseball too, right? And it's all about the long ball, not the short game. It's all about the long ball. 26-1 postseason if you hit more home runs. I thought those were some interesting stats on Levitard's show yesterday. There were 13 sacrifice bunts that ended up generating 5 runs in the postseason. But if you hit more home runs than the other team, you were 26-1. Hello, can you go yard? So 2 things, the mound and can you yank the ball out of the ballpark? The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We welcome you in. Has this been one of the best sports years in the history of sport with Clemson out? Let's talk about this on the big board. Clemson, Alabama, unbelievable. Villanova with the shot, national championship over North Carolina. Remarkable and amazing, spectacular. LeBron down 3-1 to the Warriors. They won 73 games or whatever you told me, Drew. And they come back, 2 of the 3 on the road. And then, boom, Cubs are down 3-1. They have to go and win 2 of the games in Cleveland. One of the best sports years in the history of sport. Live in the BankPlus studio, straight ahead the big board. We have a monster sale today at Circle 7. Hey, this is the time to upgrade the closet. Circle 7 Outfitters right here. We're on the Circle 7 property today, and like we are every day. Big fall sale. Shirts and jackets, Cotton Brothers, Gitman Brothers, and Filson, some 2 for $1. This is it. Specials all over the store. Circle 7 today, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can find it all at Circle 7 Outfitters, Highway 463 in